Hey, Tom Morello, welcome to Australian Musician.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
And very nice to see you wearing a Cherry Bar t-shirt.
This is not premeditated. It's actually the shirt I had on earlier today. It was like how fortuitous that I'll be doing some Australian press later on.
Yeah. You'll be here very soon.
Yeah.
What do you like at packing? Are you good at packing enough t-shirts, socks, and your phone?
I like to travel light. Travel light and and bring a mean guitar has really been my motto all the way around. So yeah, I think I'll be right. I think this is frankly a Cherry Bar t-shirt might be all that I need.
Tell me about this fabulous band that you're bringing down with you.
Sure, this is the Freedom Fighter Orchestra. We've played together since probably 2007. Whenever I've done my solo shows, and Springsteen has the E Street Band, Neil Young has Crazy Horse, and I've got the Freedom Fighter Orchestra. They're friends and comrades, and gentlemen that I've rocked the world with, and we've played hundreds and hundreds of charity shows and activist shows and festival shows, and from parking lots to the biggest festivals in the world. And I'm very much looking forward to bringing the Freedom Fighter Orchestra to Australia.
Yeah. You've been involved in so many different bands and collaborations.
Yeah.
How do you approach a set list for a tour like this?
Sure. The last couple of years, it's really been an embracing of the entire 22 album career. I am on this tour. I am carrying the torch for the Rage Against the Machine songs, the Audioslave songs, Prophets of Rage, my Night Watchman catalog, my work with Bruce Springsteen. I've prior to this, in each epoch of my career has been kind of like compartmentalized, and this is going to exclusively be folk music, or this is going to exclusively be Audioslave. And now, I'm really have loved curating a set that is career spanning and very contemporary. I'm in the midst of making my first ever solo rock album, and so we'll be playing some material from that, as well as Rage, Audioslave, and of course a Springsteen, one or two of the Springsteen songs I've been involved in.
Yeah.
And one thing too that I'm very much always looking forward to when I do these shows is seeing what friends or musician friends might be uh, on tour or might be around. So there's definitely going to be some special guests at some of these shows. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Oh, sounds cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
you've always been a socially conscious guy. I see you've been playing classic political songs like Lennon's Power to the People and
Sure.
Woody Guthrie's This Land Is Your Land. Mu-
Sure.
Music was a real political force back in the 60s with Dylan and Joan Baez and Pete Seeger, and then later on, Black Flag, Public Enemy, and Rage Against the Machine. I just feel like the last 2 decades, maybe the political message hasn't been cutting through in music.
Mhm.
You think now with Trump and Musk out of control that we'll see a resurgence in politics in music, and how can it be effective?
Yeah. Well, terrible presidents make for great music. Generally, that's been my experience. But there is a lot. There is a lot of music that confronts injustice. It may not be at the top of the charts like it once was, but it does exist. And I'll be playing it every night on tour. But my thought on that is that I wouldn't ghettoize it and say what's happening in the world of music with response to the political climate. I think that in everyone's job, including yours or the person who cleans the office, like don't leave behind what you believe in what you do. And that to stand up for what's right in your home, in your place of work, in your school, in your country, whether you have a guitar in your hands or whether you have a broom in your hands or whether you have a lecture podium, at your disposal. I think that is a way to lead a authentic life, especially in troubled times.
Yeah, the new administration are sort of butting into areas that politicians haven't in the past, into the arts, like the Kennedy Center, Trump being on the board. Are you confident there's enough checks and balances in place to keep them from persecuting artists from expressing their views that don't?
No, I am not certain that there are enough checks and balances in place. We've already seen savage attacks on the First Amendment, with regards to people speaking out about the issue of Palestine and speaking out against Trump or Musk personally. And there is really a dark fascist cloud that is looming, and an authoritarian specter that we do not yet know what the ceiling is, and we do not yet know what the basement is. And so I think we are, at times like this, it's like there's sort of two ways you can go. One is like, oh shit, like there's what can we do? It's so overwhelming. And the other is to do what people have always done in times where there has been um, a rise in authoritarianism, a rise in injustice, is that they've used whatever it is they have at disposal, whether it's a microphone, whether it's a chat group, whether it's a Molotov cocktail at a Tesla dealership, to express themselves in such a way that to fight back in however they can.
Yeah. Um, Back to your music. Soldier in the Army of Love is the current single from an upcoming solo album, which features your son.
Yeah.
When will it be out and where are you at with it?
Yeah. We've been working on it daily now. Just wrote another song today. My hope is to record the record in June for a late 2025 release. But, in this day and age, we'll release some songs along the way when they're ready. Excited to play new music while I'm out on tour, to season it that way. In this day and age, there's not sort of like the old school record cycle thing. I think when songs are ready, they'll come out. But I am very excited about this album because it is a culmination of sort of coming together of all the rivulets of my career, from the savage riffs and the politics of Rage Against the Machine to some of the melodicism and the broader classical rockness of Audioslave, to the kind of the fearless sonic experimentation of the Atlas Underground, to the songwriting of Bruce Springsteen and my work as the Night Watchman, to the being open to collaboration like with Prophets of Rage. It's really like the kind of the culmination. It's 22 records have kind of added up to this one.
Yeah. What's your cutoff valve like? Are you good at knowing when a song's done and to leave it alone?
Pretty good, yeah, pretty good. Like I've always tried to not overthink. I mean, there's an element of inspiration which strikes or it does not. In the last couple of weeks, I've been in a pretty fertile field, and before that, it was a little fallow in trying to really figure out. Part of the problem is I've got a lot of songs, and none of them are finished, and then you have to sort of like thread the needle and curate from that batch. But at the same time, and of course, the last few days I've written, last couple of weeks, I've written maybe 4 songs that may end up being the whole record. This may be like the direction of the whole record. One of the things that is great to be able to do is my 13-year-old is quite a riff writer. So I knock on his door and I steal riffs from time to time. So that's very helpful to
Well,
augment the process.
does he get to come down to Australia?
He doesn't, unfortunately. He would love to. He's in school then, though. He's in school then.
Just wanted to touch on your gear. How many guitars will you bring down? I was watching a show in Serbia. I think you had 3 or 4 on stage.
Yeah. I think we'll have there's acoustic and backup. Arm the Homeless will be I bring the main guitars out on tour. Those are the ones that I've toured with for 30 plus years. Arm the Homeless will be there. My main telly will be there. Backups for both, and maybe a drop B guitar too for a baritone guitar for a couple of the songs.
Yeah, just the stage rig change. Do you have an international stage rig and a US?
Yes, I mean, sometimes, I'm actually not sure with us. Sometimes we rent the cabinets. The head is always the same. I've got a few of them, but it's the same head that I had in 1988, the Marshall JCM 800 50-watt channel switching head, 2205. That is that, and the combination of the single coil pickup in the telly and in the Arm the Homeless. That's really what I sound like, and so I got to have that everywhere.
Yeah. In July, Black Sabbath are playing their final gig in London. I believe you've been brought in as the MD.
Yes.
How did it come about, and where's the preparation at?
Sure. We had a big meeting about that earlier today. It came about like Ozzy and Sharon asked me to do. They surprised me one day and said, "There's going to be one more Black Sabbath show, all 4 original members, the last ever Ozzy Osbourne show. We want to have it a big day of celebration, and will you help curate it?" And I was like, "Well, that's crazy," but yes, of course. Heavy metal is the music that made me love music, and Black Sabbath invented heavy metal. And Ozzy Osbourne, by discovering the guitarist Randy Rhoads, created, through Randy Rhoads, the music that inspired me to practice 8 hours a day. So I owe a great debt to Ozzy and to Black Sabbath, and it's an honor to be a part of it. Where it's at now, first of all, it is. When we first sat down, I said, well, have a very, very simple goal, and that's to make this the greatest day in the history of heavy metal. And to that end, you've probably seen the listed set list, and let me tell you, there's some huge superstars who are going to be surprises on that day too. So the idea is to really acknowledge the importance of that band in a way that the whole world will forever know it.
Yeah, sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
You've been doing a lot of extracurricular activities. South by Southwest, you interviewed John Fogerty. I've seen you hosting award shows or being involved in award shows. What do you get out of doing those? Do you like to mix it up?
I tell you, first of all, like with John Fogerty, I did something recently with Joan Baez too. It's similar with the Sabbath thing. It's, these are people who are my heroes, and to be able to really help them get their flowers and to acknowledge, how important they've been to me, and then to help amplify that to a younger audience and younger generations is, that's the importance of that. Some of the other stuff, I say yes to too many things, and I'm just too busy most of the time. But if something comes along that feels like, it would be right to do, I'll just add it onto the pile and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. I forgot to ask you, we were talking about the set list. Will Dirty Deeds make it to the set list?
There is a strong indication that Dirty Deeds will be part of the set list this time.
Do you remember hearing AC/DC for the first time?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it was, when did I first hear it is a good question. It might have been, honestly, some kid got kicked out of class in high school for playing big balls. And that was just, and I was just like, what? Like, what's happening? Like, what? There's a song? Really? And then I discovered that the band was much more than big balls, and was indeed, of course, became one of my favorite bands. And I always like to sort of acknowledge their excellence when I come to Australia. I had one of my favorite tour memories. What city are you in right now?
I'm in Melbourne.
Oh, you're in Melbourne, yeah. Well, one of my favorite tour memories of all time was, opening the Springsteen show with Eddie Vedder playing Highway to Hell in the stadium there, which really stands as an apex moment in the history of rock and roll. And I've seen a lot of good moments in rock and roll. But I visited, in Perth, visited Bon Scott's grave in the middle of the night with a friend, and we couldn't find it. It wasn't met well. I was surprised that it wasn't as well marked as I thought it should have been, and coming out of the darkness comes like a motor dude, like a heavy set dude. And this is the middle of the night, like it's 11:30 at night. In the darkness, a dude on a motorbike with like sort of a German army helmet and a t-shirt which reads, "I don't give a shit, but if I did, you'd be the first person I'd give it to." I'm like, that guy's going to know where Bon Scott's grave is. And sure enough, he did. We poured one out for the chap and went back to the hotel, and I began lobbying Bruce to start covering AC/DC.
One last question, I'll let you go.
Sure.
What are you most proud of in your career?
Well, that's you've stumped me there. I would say making a lifetime of music that I believe in and that has connected with some people in a way that really has demonstrable effects in standing up to injustice in the world. I hear people come up with stories about how they became interested in activism, and sometimes it has something to do with one of the bands that I've been in or one of the shows that I've played, and then they go on to describe what their lives have been like or what they've done that was a building block of sort of creating world changers. And when I was first staring up at my KISS poster strumming a tennis racket, I never really thought that would be that was something like that could ever be real. So
yeah. Well, Tom, it's been great to chat. We look forward to seeing you down here very soon, and we might see you at the Cherry Bar.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I haven't been to there's a new one, right? I've only been to the old one.
Yeah, it's not too far from the other one, but it's just as good.
Well, you can be sure I'll be there. All right, take care, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Have a good one. Bye.